Guys, stop putting your love life on hold. U.S. Pharmacy. If you've been wanting to try Viagra or Cialis, now's the perfect time.
How are you doing?
Receive 90 little blue or little yellow pills for only $119 with free shipping. Why order some low-dose sildenafil from one of those subscription services when we can give you what you want now? Call 800-711-6818 and we'll rush your order discreetly packaged to your door. Been thinking about trying Viagra or Cialis? Call U.S. Pharmacy at 800-711-6818 for as little as only $119 for 90 pills. Need your package in a hurry? Call 800-711-6818 and ask about our express shipping option, and we'll rush your order to you as soon as possible. Save money on this little blue or yellow pill you've been wanting to try. Again, 800-711-6818 now. That's 800-711-6818.
WWL First News. I'm Tom Perumian on your official weather station, WWL AM, FM, and .com.
After a frigid morning in the teens, 20s, and 30s, high temperatures today will feel almost balmy, but still very cold, around 52 degrees, with plenty of sunshine throughout the day. No hard freeze overnight tonight, a light freeze north and west. Temperatures there in the upper 20s will be in the more mid to upper 30s in the metro area. Increase in clouds throughout the day on Monday with some afternoon showers.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Franklin. 2 people are dead following a fatal accident in Kenner. WWL TV's Mike McDaniel reports.
Kenner police are investigating a deadly crash that killed 3 people last night around 10 o'clock. A 4th person is in critical condition. According to witnesses, one vehicle was going the wrong direction in the westbound lanes of Airline Highway. The second vehicle was headed southbound on Jackson Street and was hit while crossing over Airline. Both vehicles then hit a power pole, causing an outage in the area. No other details were released.
A surprise revelation with the filing of former Governor Edwin Edwards' will. WWL TV's Devin Bartolotta has the story.
According to a report from WBRZ, he left everything he owns to his 8-year-old son, Eli. The will contains fewer than 150 words, and Edwards wrote it on a sheet of legal paper in 2017. The document was filed this week in Ascension Parish as part of the Edwards succession. A portion of the will reads, quote, "I hope my other children realize that I do not love Eli more or them less, but realize what I leave him is less than each received in money, property, homes, and education."
Now here's Scott Alexander with WWL Sports.
After the first week of the NFL playoffs saw 5 of the 6 favorites win, yesterday's divisional round game saw 2 underdogs come through in thrilling fashion. The San Francisco 49ers, the lowest seed left in the playoffs, took their first lead of the game with zeros on the clock.
This is in the snow. This is in the wind. This is in Lambeau. 45-yard field goal. High snap, put down, kick is up, and the kick is good. He got it. Clock at 0. San Francisco has stunned Green Bay.
And the AFC game was just as thrilling. It all came down to another game-winning field goal.
Here's the snap, ball down. McPherson's kick is on the way, and it is good, and the Bengals win. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to the AFC title game.
And next week, Joe Burrow's Bengals will be on the road again, this time to the winner of the Buffalo-Kansas City game, which is at 5:30 on WWL. And also on WWL, the winner of the Tampa Bay Rams game at 2 o'clock will host the San Francisco 49ers next week. Scott Alexander, WWL Sports.
Now, your Garcia Roofing forecast on WWL.
Clear skies and frigid temperatures to begin the day. Wow, teens, 20s, low 30s across the map. And it's going to stay pretty chilly all day today. However, unlike yesterday where we stayed in the 40s, the afternoon highs today will get into the low 50s. It's still about 10-plus degrees below average. Another cold night on the way under clear skies, but not as cold. No hard freeze. A light freeze north of the lake and west. The temperatures there will drop into the upper 20s and upper 30s, so hikes are safe tonight. 37 degrees are low in the city. 40 40% chance for some late afternoon and evening showers on Monday with increasing clouds and a high of 57. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL-TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Franklin.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News.
From WWL, the news, talk, sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Heart Jewelers talk and text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, good morning, Doug Sunseri.
Good morning, Albert Nicaud. Having a little trouble getting Doug on this morning. We're working on that technical difficulty.
I think I'm on. I'm on.
Little shout out to the 49ers. What a fun game that was to watch. They kind of wet the bed the whole game, and then all of a sudden at the end of the game, kick a field goal. And also shout out to LSU great Joe Burrow. And sure enough, he cool as a cucumber, brought his team back to kick the field goal, win the game, even though his offensive line kind of let him down. He was sacked 9 times. But it was, again, some fun football. Hopefully today the same thing will happen. And
Albert, you got me? Can you?
We've got 2 more games WWL will be carrying as well.
Coming in on 2, is that right?
Yeah, I'm on 2. So you got me?
You watch some really good football again today. I know.
All right.
Oh,
there you go, Albert.
There he is. Doug got in.
Comrex 2 instead of Comrex 1. So there we are. Thank you. Thank you for covering. Usually you're covering when I'm going to the bathroom. So there you go.
Yeah.
But yes, we WWL, All Things Legal, and Albert, you were talking about Joe Burrow. So why don't you continue with that?
Yeah, what a fun game, man. The guy, look, let me tell you, a lot of people mistake the confidence that a quarterback has. If you look at these guys, if you look at the great ones, and Drew Brees, I think, might have been an exception, but for the most part, when you look at the Tom Brady's and now the Joe Burrows and these guys and their level of confidence before the game, after the last week's game, they asked Joe Burrow, how does it feel to win a playoff game, for the Cincinnati Bengals, who hadn't been here in almost 40 years. And he said, you better get used to it. That was his response. It was like, we're going to go there and we're going to win that game. It's not, gee whiz, I'm glad to be here looking at the lights and still, something new to him. It's like he's been there before. He's cool as a cucumber. He knows what he's got to do next. It was fun to watch. And, like I said, you got your Tom Brady's, all of these quarterbacks have that mentality, I remember, what was the quarterback's name? He had Roselle in his headband for
Jim McMahon. Jim McMahon for Chicago Bears.
Right. Somebody got hurt. I forgot who. He steps in the huddle, and everybody's kind of chatting and talking, and he says, "Shut the F up. This is my huddle." And it was like, you knew who your leader was going to be. You shut up. You listen to him, and this is. And let me tell you, he wasn't the greatest of quarterbacks. He just won games. And that's what you need. And, people mistake that for just being arrogant and being this and that. But there's that level of confidence that you've got to have, and that lack of memory when you throw the interception to step back up and throw that same out route or that same pass because you can do it. And Joe's got it. I mean, he's got it hands down. Yeah,
well, I think one of the he was sacked 10 times. That's one thing. It's an NFL record. And for if you think a quarterback was sacked 10 times, you think they're going to lose by about 21 points.
Right.
And it's amazing that he came back from that. And I think that was the biggest. His will was able to overcome a offensive line that could not protect him for 10 sacks. It wasn't like he held the ball either. It wasn't like he's a quarterback who holds the ball. He gets it out quick. So there is a real deficiency of the Cincinnati Bengals pass protection, and he still overcame that.
Well, I did notice a couple of times when they showed the field view, like from behind him, right?
Right.
That they were not calling routes where on a handful of those, they were not calling routes where he could dump the ball off. So, they didn't give him that opportunity to throw it away because the routes took too long, but, for people to make their cut, whatever. And by that time, the rush was in on him. And so that extra second he didn't have, if that's the case, you put a tight end in to help the blocker, or you have a hot route where, a running back or somebody, pops into the middle of the field or in the flat real quick so you can get rid of the football. And they didn't have it. And so he just had to eat it, and try to dodge the coverage. But it was a fun game. I tell you, I loved last night watching, the frozen tundra in Green Bay when the snow started, and it's good football. My wife's like, that's ridiculous. Why are they playing in that? I'm like, I think it's awesome.
Well, who would have thought that a West Coast team that is probably colder in the summer in San Francisco than it is in the fall,
right,
would go in and perform that way in that type of atmosphere? Like, if Tampa's going into Green Bay, with the exception of recently, or, when you have a warm weather team coming into Green Bay, I'd be interesting to know what the record is. I'm sure it's probably Green Bay wins 80, 90% of the time. But it's just, the other thing is that's why they play the game. And that's why you keep playing for 60 minutes. Because for 55 minutes, Green Bay pretty much dominated for the most part. They just didn't score in the Reds when they got down on San Francisco side of the field. And also, special teams is 1/3 of the game.
But you say that, But you say that, but San Francisco dominated the second half in stats. I think Green Bay had like 50 points in the second half, and also they were twice in the red zone inside the 5. One was a holding penalty, the other was an offensive face mask that pushed them out of the red zone on 2 really good drives. So they were catching up. And if you recall, Garoppolo, way back when I was dying for the Saints.
You were on the bandwagon back then.
No, I'm still on the bandwagon. The guy.
I thought you were on him. You were on him early. Is what I mean.
Why? Well, he was under the tutelage of Brady and Belichick. He sat the bench, and then he came in when Brady, got hurt for I forget how long, and he killed it. I mean, the guy again has that confidence level, and he throws a pretty pass. He didn't last night because it was an ice ball, but hit 2 or 3 receivers in the first half right in the hands, and they just dropped the ball. And it could have kept drives going, and made it a little less uneven in the first half in favor of Green Bay.
It's another interesting aspect of it is basically when you're a playoff contending team, you play the regular season for that number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's how important it is. And it's basically, there's a lot of emphasis, obviously, in the number 1 seed. And
sure.
Didn't mean much this year. And I think the other aspect of it is it's really a second season. And once you finish the season, it's just a matter of who's hot for the second season. So San Francisco, if you remember 2 weeks ago, every Saints fan was watching the Rams up 17-0 late in the second quarter. And we're saying, well, this is a cakewalk. And San Francisco came back. LA took the lead. San Francisco came back and won in overtime. So they got in by their fingernails. And now they're conceivably, you could say they're the hottest team in the playoffs right now. So far, I mean, it's very limited. You got 2 more games, but who would have thought they would have beat Dallas, and who would have thought they'd beat Green Bay? I mean, those are two impressive wins. And so it's just interesting that once you get into the playoffs, how really the regular season doesn't matter. And it's interesting that Tennessee and Green Bay were fighting for that first seed, and it turned out to mean very little.
And the old adage is true that defense wins Super Bowls. And, the Tennessee's defense was just incredible. And San Francisco's was too. I mean, you look at, not San Francisco, Cincinnati's. They held the team to what? Field goal. Well, that was they did score a touchdown, but still, they held them to 2 field goals and a touchdown. The under was the bet for both games yesterday, for sure.
Right. Well, you hit 13-10, 19-16. Those are like old SEC games. Bear Bryant against Pat Dye kind of games. Just slug it out. And you're right about defense. Actually, Cincinnati had 2 key contributors from the Saints, Trey Hendrickson and also Eli Apple, who were very good. And
yes, a couple of other boys played. But actually, that's not true. Jamal Chase and who was the
Christian
DP?
Fulton. Exactly. Yeah, Christian Fulton. They played against each other. In fact,
you guys.
In fact, I saw on one of the catches, it was one of those bubble screens to Jamar Chase. He juked Christian Fulton. And I just thought about it. I said, I guess he's been doing that for like 8 years to him. So it's very good. And
both from the West Bank. They grow great over there.
I'm going to transition to this to sort of like LSU. LSU has, without a coaching staff, and with very limited recruiting, is now in the top 10 recruiting if you include the transfer portal and those players. But here's my thought on the transfer portal. I would rather, like Joe Burrow, he came in the transfer portal, but Ohio State used its resources, used its scholarships to develop him. And then when he's a finished product, he comes to LSU and has those 2 years.
Right.
And they did it on a scholarship of Ohio State. In other words, they didn't really have to use their resources to develop him. They didn't have to use a scholarship. They didn't have to sit him. I don't think that's such a bad deal, using the transfer portal. I would rather have a player who's played.
You get the player.
Well, I'd rather have a player who's played 1 or 2 years and is more of a finished product than the unknown of a high school player. Because there's a lot of 5-star high school players who come in and never make it, or don't make an impact. But you have a better sample of what a college player can do after 2 years, even if it's at ULL or what have you. I would rather get one of those players because there's less uncertainty. And it's just sort of interesting.
Well, it's just unfortunately, teams are just going to be poaching other teams, and that I don't like how that works and how that's that's going to happen. But
NIL, they'll be bidding. They'll sit out and they'll be bidding, and it'll be almost like a free agent contract to see who.
But thing with Joe too. Of course, he didn't get the opportunity last year to show what he had because of his injuries, but. He was 25 coming out of college. So he had that maturity level. He had that both physically and emotionally, mentally. And, that makes a huge difference.
It's a big difference if you come out at 24 or you're 21. Those 3 years are a lifetime when it comes to maturity in football. Let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
When nothing is certain, everything is possible. Okay, let's babble and recognize everything together and treat others the way we want to be treated. I play all of that. maintain my constitutional right to have a sense of humor.
News on the air, where politics and pop culture meet your opinion. Weekdays 1 to 4 on WWL.
DraftKings Sportsbook is coming soon.
It won't be long until you can bet on all your favorite sports from the comfort of your own home. To celebrate, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving customers $100 in free bets when you sign up
before they go live. No deposit required. DraftKings is bringing their experience as a leader in daily fantasy sports to the sports betting world and have created one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps, DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BIG870 when you sign up. Those who sign up right now will get $100 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Louisiana. That's code BIG870 to get $100 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-770-STOP. 7867. 21 and over. Louisiana only. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full terms and conditions.
Individual rates, coverage offerings, and savings can vary, subject to terms and conditions. Not available in all areas. Small businesses are the backbone of America. Yet when it comes to workers' comp insurance, you rarely get the savings you deserve. That's because insurance companies tend to lump you in with other businesses, and you can get overcharged. At Pi Insurance, we're on a mission to change that. With Pi, you get a quote specific to your business, and you can save up to 30% with no hassle and no hidden fees. If you like savings, take 3 minutes to see how much you could save at trypi.com. Pi makes workers' comp insurance as easy as pie, with friendly representatives just a call away. No wonder customers rate our service excellent on Trustpilot. You work hard to build your business and keep your employees safe. You deserve more from your workers' comp provider. See how much you can save with Pi Insurance. Ask your agent for Pi or get a quote today at trypi.com. That's trypie.com.
Hey y'all, the new year's here and you're ready to celebrate. Here's what's happening around the state. January 22nd, Madisonville's Battle for the Paddle Gumbo Cook-Off. Shred Fest at Bogachitta State Park in Franklinton. Gator and Winter Festival, January 26th through February 2nd. Cinema on the Bayou Film Festival in Lafayette. January 29th, Opelousas Gumbo Cook-Off. So make your plans to Laissez les Bon Temps Roulette.
This is Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Plan your road trip at LouisianaIsATrip.com.
So here we go again. Since Hurricane Katrina, the insurance companies have been raising our premiums and raising our deductibles. But now when we need our insurance payments to rebuild our homes and rebuild our lives, they're denying our claims and lowering our estimates. This is Albert Nicaud, the Nicaud and Sunseri law firm in Metairie. Let us put our team of licensed contractors, roofers, and public adjusters to work for you so you can get your home and life back in order. Call me, Albert Nicaud, at 504-837-1304, and I'll make your insurance company accountable.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year, but our
Spain going live after this.
bad.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind. Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? No matter your learning style or experience level, Babbel has lessons designed for you that will get you speaking quickly and confidently. I tried learning Spanish before, but I couldn't stick with it until I found Babbel.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said now he speaks Spanish.
I can't wait to use our new language skills on our upcoming adventures. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
What's the frequency count at the show?
All things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Albert, I got a text from, I think, an offensive lineman from Cincinnati Bengals, and it said Joe Burrow was only sacked 9 times, not 10.
Correct. You said 10, but it was 9.
I might have meant I could have meant that as metaphorically, but yes, he was 9 times. So I apologize to the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line.
Yeah, right.
It was still an NFL record. It's still an NFL record. So I don't think they'll be putting that in their trophy room. Any lineman. So wanted to sort of switch gears. I guess what's probably dominated our shows for the last 4.5 months is Hurricane Ida and insurance claims, and it's sort of an issue that is common to anyone who owns a home or rental property or businesses. Um, where are you as far as your clients and businesses as far as the claims are concerned, and what are the particular issues that you're addressing in January?
Well, in January, I think we're to the point of kind of filing suit now. We've started filing a handful of them. Of course, if ideally you want to be in district court, state district court, and not federal district court, the jury of your peers in, Laplace or in Kenner are going to be a lot more sympathetic, I think, than a jury from 5 different parishes. So if your claim is below $75,000, including penalties and attorney fees, then we're assessing those and talking it over with our clients and filing those in state court. Otherwise, because what's happened is you've just lost communication. I mean, it's gone beyond a certain period of time. You send that email not to an adjuster quite often. You send it to, claims@claims.com, insurancecompany.claims.com, and you don't know where it goes or who gets it. Nobody responds. Nobody confirms that they received it. I had a guy the other day, and it is an adjuster that I do actually have a name for and all that sort of thing. And my clients bought a house in foreclosure. It was filled with whoever, ran out of there as furniture. And so they didn't have any contents coverage. But it was covered. Their plan was to go in and add a bedroom and, spruce up the insides a little bit. And they buy it in mid-August. They to stave off a foreclosure sale. They go in and take some pictures like a week before the storm, and all of a sudden the hurricane hits. And I mean, when I'm telling you, like sections of like half of the ceilings in most of the rooms were on the ground. So they only were able to take pictures of a couple of the rooms because one of the doors they couldn't get open. So when they took the pictures and then the insurance company took so long, they gutted the place. They needed to gut it and get all that wet stuff out of there. So we explained that to the adjuster, and then I made it clear that, look, this is what happened. The door was like swollen shut because the carpet had gotten so wet. They couldn't get into those last couple of bedrooms, and so they couldn't take photographs in there. But my client will testify that these ceilings was the rest of the ceiling. So then he sends me an email and says, "Well, what were your clients planning to do to the property before they rent? Right when they bought it, do they have an estimate for what they were going to do?" And I emailed him back. I said, "It's totally irrelevant.
None of you doing business
exactly like it was. What are you talking about? We're going to have this conversation about what my client's plans for the property were." I said, "It's totally irrelevant. Oh, by the way, you've got 15 days left on your 30 days of satisfactory proof of loss." So I sent that last week, but that's one I guess I'm going to be filing suit on. And the others, like I said, are just kind of, they went radio silent. So.
Well, a lot of the claims, I'll refer some of the, now a lot of the claims that are settled never come to us. So we're saying this in the context of not all claims, but when they get to us, there's a problem. And then once they get to us, it seems like it's radio silence, or the adjuster is a hockey goalie, meaning every time you try to flip the puck past the net, he flips it back at you, and you just...
"Oh, yeah, I need this document. Oh, send me that document." I'm like, you don't need anything else. You got exactly what you need.
That's right. Say good.
I understand what we're calling.
There you go. Let's go to Kenneth in Laplace. Hey, Kenneth, you on All Things Legal. What can we do for you, brother?
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for accepting my call. I recently received a claim compensation for my insurance company after they lowballed me and I hired a third party to get an increase. After receiving that increase this month, the third party signed the check and mailed it to me, and then I took it to the mortgage company and they told me that they had to hold on to it. And until I get my house repaired, then they release the funds to the third party. Is that something that they can get away with in Louisiana? Is that legal? And the third party is compensated. The third party says, this claim is between myself and the insurance company, not the mortgage.
Well, no, let me tell you, your mortgage company, and if you read that 2-inch stack of documents that you got at your real estate closing, you'll realize that they do have the right to do that. Now, they don't have the right to hold your money. What they have the right to do is kind of hold it until you get certain aspects of it done. So what I would try to do, and this might be hard depending on what mortgage company it is, but get a live body on the line and say, look, I don't have the money to start renovating my property. Here's what my contractor wants. He wants 20% down. He will, as soon as he delivers those materials, I want to be able to write him a check. So give me 20% of it. And as things move forward, you can send out what's called a draw inspector, which they have when they give these loans. And that draw inspector will say, okay, the place, has been sheetrocked. We're going to give you another X. And the roof has been done. We're going to give you another percentage. And that way, and I get what they're doing, right? They're trying to protect their investment. They want to make sure that you don't just go take this money and go buy, a new Cadillac, and then all of a sudden, their risk that they loaned money on is worth half of what it's worth, and they're upside down. So they have the right to do that, but I think it's very unreasonable for them to hold it all until it's done, because then you can't get it done. So if they pay you as you go and you work that out with your contractor that, hey, look, when you complete this, they'll cut you another check. When you complete this, they'll cut you another check. Then all of a sudden, you can get the work done at a steady pace, get it paid. And actually that protects you too from giving it all to a contractor and him running off with it, right? So it kind of works out if you can arrange that. And that's
I think his other part of the question is, can the contractor demand payment from the mortgage company also, because it was a third party, in other words, there's a lot of, you could explain this, there's a lot of contractors you will sign an agreement with saying, I'll collect from the insurance company, and that the mortgage company will pay the contractor as opposed to the homeowner when the work is completed.
So let me ask you, the third party we're talking about, is it a contractor or an adjuster?
Okay, adjuster. Okay.
Yeah, because the adjuster's not going to do any work. So, and he has no right to any of that. Now, did he charge you a percentage?
Yeah, it's a percentage.
Yeah.
It depends on the increase.
Correct. So first of all, that's against the law.
If you give me more money on my claim.
I understand, but that is against the law. There are public adjuster rules that are written. Confirm that this guy's licensed, and if he is, tell him, look, you need to wait for your money because what you're doing is against the law by charging me a percentage. That's a contingency fee, and it's based upon a percentage of the recovery, and that's reserved to attorneys. The Supreme Court's been very clear on that, and so. You can hold this guy off by making it very clear to him that, hey, look, you violated the law by entering into or providing this contingency fee percentage of recovery, and therefore you can wait for your money. Is when I get mine, I'll pay you. But
I think the contract is really
hourly rate not to exceed a certain percentage.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, if you don't collect, he doesn't collect. That makes it a contingency fee. Is part of that contract saying if he doesn't increase your claim, then he doesn't charge you anything?
Right.
Exactly. If you don't increase more claims, you can't serve it.
I think that's been determined to be, if you call a dog a cat, it doesn't make it a cat. And so basically what they're saying is that is basically a contingency fee. And that would probably be interpreted by the courts as a contingency fee. So, just let them know, work with me, or, we can go the other way. So, all right, thanks for the call. Got to go to break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
Rewind or on demand at WWL.com. On the Odyssey app, we've got all your favorites. You can listen to the full show, just the interviews, or hot highlights from each hour. And don't forget, you can listen live on your smart speaker. Just tell your device, play WWL.
Day or night, weekend, urban advantage month. Don't miss a minute of WWL. WWL, sponsored by Nicaud and Marine Hurricane Insurance. If your claims are too long, you may be able to help. Call 1-800-7473. Attorney Bruce Fetzer, office mailing, LA 2212.
A new year comes with new excitement, new ambitions, new milestones. Is this the year you pop the question, have a child? Celebrate a major anniversary. Okay, we're going live after Duck, Go. With our vast selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds, our world-renowned designer jewelry collection, our industry-leading warranty and guarantees, and our people with a passion for helping you mark any occasion with something that's both meaningful and timeless. And our commitment to providing exceptional value is stronger than ever in the new year. Whether you're just starting out on a tight budget or whether you're splurging on that 30th anniversary gift, Diamonds Direct will make sure you get the price that you expect from America's premier direct diamond importer. Welcome to a new year and welcome to Diamonds Direct, where extreme value combines with the ultimate luxury shopping experience to create that truly magical moment for the milestones in your life. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. On Severn Avenue, across from Lakeside.
Did you know that over 90% of male enhancement pills are virtually the same thing that's repackaged, redone over and over again? Why settle for the same old product when you can get something completely different? Something that takes male enhancement into the 21st century. Something that really works. Men, you need to try Noxator, the explosive, all-natural male enhancement formula that will unlock your performance in the bedroom to a level you could only dream of. Try to imagine that little blue pill on steroids. Noxator is so powerful. That's why it took years for it to finally become available to the public without a prescription. So call now and take advantage of our special Noxator free bottle offer today. Oh yeah, we recommend that you use the Noxator dose as directed. Think of your partner. We certainly don't want you to overperform in the bedroom.
Call now and find out how to get a free bottle of Noxator while supplies last. Call 1-800-231-8913. That's 800-231-8913. Free bottle for limited time. Call now. 800-231-8913. 800-231-8913.
Hi, folks. Joel Myers, my friends at Best Chevrolet. At Best Chevrolet, they know a Chevy buyer is generally looking for three things. Number one, they want a great price. Two, they want a top-notch service department. And three, Chevy buyers want an enjoyable, no-hassle buying experience. I can tell you, you're going to get all three at Best Chevrolet. On Veterans Boulevard where Metairie meets Kenny, or BestChevrolet.com. Best Chevrolet, a proud member of the Gail Benson Automotive family of dealerships.
It's time for you to profit from the postseason with BetQL's Giving Props Contest. We post some props, you make some picks, and there's $2,000 up for grabs each weekend of the playoffs. Over rushing yards, under receiving yards, you get it. BetQL's Giving Props Contest. And everyone who registers has a shot at the $10,000 grand prize. Props, pick, anything from BetQL. Starting now by texting props to 20355.
Hi gang, Bob Reck here for River Lanes Insurance Medicare Division. Now is the time to revisit your Medicare plan, make changes and review the newest benefit options. My friends at River Lanes have a full staff of local and licensed representatives ready to help. And they don't just represent one company. It's like one-stop shopping for all the major Medicare plans. Call River Lanes at 504-217-7420. I trust River Lanes with my Medicare insurance, and you can too. Call today at 504-217-7420 or visit riverlanesinsurance.com.
Premium, professionally measured and professionally installed. ReliefWindows.com.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the course keeps changing right before your eyes. And in order to maneuver it, you need an expert by your side. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PC and tech solutions you need to help you get out in front and stay ahead of the game. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
New to Curiosity Stream.
I can talk about the core using here.
How do the most iconic food brands become iconic? Unwrap the surprises behind the brands that feed our world on Eat Me or Try Not To. Plus, the best poker face.
Check. I almost folded.
Needs a poker brain. Researchers use MRIs and more to study the tricks of the world's best gamblers in the mind of a poker player. It's on Curiosity Stream. Annual plan $20. That's $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com.
Okay, one more to go, and we'll go till 50.
Okay.
Now followed by uncomfortable ads. I hate feeling like a person about it. It's being bought and sold. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy with DuckDuckGo.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nicaud and Sunseri now on the Oakland House Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. I had a very interesting anecdote I want to talk about. And again, we're not, if the insurance companies, a lot of claims adjusters, a lot of claims have been resolved and they've done a good job. The ones that come to us and come to the show and the concerns are the ones that aren't. So we're saying that when we talk about this, we're talking about this in this context. But it was very interesting. We had a client who had a claim on their roof, which if you were along a 40 or 50 mile path of the hurricane, chances are if you have a 3-tab shingle roof, it's probably didn't survive the hurricane. It probably needs to be replaced most of the time. And the insurance company basically indicated after the hurricane, they did a claim assessment and said it just needs to be patched. And that's all they would pay for it, and it was way below the deductible. Then about a couple months later, which was just recently, the insurance company tells the homeowner that unless you replace your roof, we're not going to reinsure renew your policy.
Right.
So, and I don't know if that's a function of the right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing, a function of whether the insurance companies, that particular insurance company does not want to write in this area anymore. But I just thought it was a very interesting anecdote that for 2 or 3 months, the insurance company was arguing that it's just a patch, your roof is fine, and then they send a notice saying if you don't change your roof, we're going to cancel your insurance because it's a high risk because it's damaged.
Yeah, I mean, which is it, right? And let me tell you that's part of the deal. That's why they do this recoverable depreciation thing, because they want to make sure that the work gets done, because once again, they are insuring that risk. And so if you go put a Band-Aid on it and they paid for a new roof, they're going to depreciate that roof more often than not. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just write you the check for the whole thing. So it makes it easier on them, depending on the extent of the depreciation. But just for those who don't know, don't forget to do that, right? You got your claim, they depreciated at a certain point. If you have a replacement cost policy, they're supposed to replace it at the full replacement cost. But what they will do is they will depreciate it first, pay you the amount minus the depreciation, and then let you know that is recoverable. And what that means is the recoverable depreciation, once that work is completed and you send them the invoice showing that it's done and some photographs showing that it's been done, they'll send you that $2,000, $3,000 check for your recoverable depreciation. Don't forget to do that. I mean, that's your money, and that's how to do it. Just submit your check that you wrote to the company that did the roof, or submit a copy of the estimate with the photographs showing that the work's been done. And then they should, within 30 days, send you a check for that recoverable depreciation. I can tell you my daughter's claim, she had a roof claim. I sent photographs of the roof, a copy of the invoice from the insurance company, and they didn't send me the recoverable depreciation. It's been about 60 days. So it's a small amount. I'm going to go ahead and file suit against them in parish court. It's a $25,000 $20,000 jurisdictional limit. And so the claim falls under that, even with the penalties. But they're just not going to get away with it. And so there was along with that, there's a $2,500 debris removal. The tree that fell on her house, had to be removed, and I got charged $2,500 to do it. So, we Venmo'd the person the money. I got the Venmo receipt, a copy of the estimate or the invoice to do it, and submitted that. No crickets, nothing. So it's craziness that, and again, that's one of them where we don't have an adjuster's name. We don't have anyone to contact. All we have is submit it at xinsurancecompany.claims.com. And so, there's nobody I can call and say, God, just send me the money. So to avoid this, because I've kind of threatened it in an email. I don't even know if the email is getting there. I'm check the address and send it to the right place. But, again, you hear nothing. So,
yeah, now let me just ask you this, and I think a lot of this will be the argument of the insurance companies, because a lot of people are upset about not getting their money. They just one claim just recently where they told them back in September, you got $84,000 of damages, and then in January they pay. They're going to say that even though this was such a big disaster, that we're not in bad faith because of the overwhelming amount of claims, and that it is reasonable to have not gotten the checks out or within 30 days. And so therefore we're not in bad faith because it was just such a big disaster.
They're wrong. The law is very clear, right? The insurance commissioner gave them additional time to assess the claims, right? So it's incumbent upon them, when they have a large loss like this, to hire these third-party companies to be boots on the ground and be representatives of that insurance company, to then go out and tell the insurance company what the claim is worth. But if you want to spend a bunch of time having it reviewed by the desk adjuster and a claims manager and a claims supervisor, and going up the chain to review this claim, then all of a sudden you're going to be in bad faith. You're hiring this company to go out and be your eyes and go inspect it, but you're not relying on it. And I can tell you that my daughter's claim, I got to be pretty friendly with the adjuster. And I told him, there was some things that, for instance, the debris removal, he put it in the estimate. When I got it back, it wasn't on the estimate. I did have his phone number, so I called him, and he said, I put it in there. I put it in the estimate. That's all I can tell you. And then with her bathroom floor had damage on it. And sure enough, he was going to pay for cleaning the grout. He said, I put it in there. They took it out. So if you're going to do that, you're in bad faith.
All right, there you go. Let's go to a break. I've got a couple calls on the line on the other side. All Things Legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Hey, it's David Spade and Dana Garvey here. Join us for our new Flycast Fly Off the Wall. Every week we're going to catch up with an alum. Lee and Mary here recovering the car theft and Neil and Janice from Mariel insurance question.
We're going to take Janice first. Who's the first one?
Available now for Lee.
Where was Lee? What do you have? And what kind of question he had?
He had a problem with the car theft recovery.
Yeah, well, let's go with. Yeah, let's go. We're gonna go with Janice first, okay?
Okay, Jen.
Okay.
More.
Once again, voted best local jeweler by the Reader's Digest. Oakwood Heart has been named one of New Orleans' best jewelers for more than 20 years now. And you know what? We are thankful and inspired to know that customer relationships still matter. New Orleans still cares about artistry, value, and 5-star personal service. Listen to this online review from staff
Commercial establishment.
hands down, best jewelers on the globe.
Then we will find out how to say how's your pajamas.
All around the world, and nothing compares to Oakwood Heart Jewelers. Well said. As many of you know, the best jewelry, customer experience, and prices can be found local. There's a great work of art in every box from Oakwood Heart on Metairie Road.
If you are a loved one or suffering from Parkinson's disease, listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder, Paula Norris Metayer.
People started coming to us and asking for help for things other
We're going to have just a little under 5 minutes.
He comes in once a month, he gets his booster because that's what you have to do. In 2 hours after he started, his tremors in his hand stopped. He said, Paula, your major marketing talent is that it's too good to be true. But it's true. It truly is true. We can't say that all of these things have a cure, but these things happen and they're real.
Call Springfield Wellness Center, 504-291-4000.
Just call us. That's all. And we'll be waiting for you.
Make the call, 504-291-4000. 291-4000. Springfield Wellness Center. SpringfieldWellnessCenter.com.
For Mardi Gras supplies, head to Jefferson Variety Stores, specializing in specialty beads, throw beads, trinkets, boas, masks, hats, and plenty more at Jefferson Variety Stores. Open 7 days a week. Visit them at 239 Pirates Avenue in Old Jefferson or online at JeffersonVariety.com.
The Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation is celebrating 100 years as the voice of Louisiana agriculture, working through its grassroots leadership to ensure a safe and abundant supply of food, fiber, and
Coming to Spain later this year.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind. Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases, and with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? No matter your learning style or experience level, Babbel has lessons designed for you that will help you speak quickly and confidently. I tried learning Spanish before, but couldn't stick with it until I found Babbel.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now he speaks Spanish.
I can't wait to use our new language skills on our upcoming adventures. Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions.
How long are we going to have, Doug? How long are we going to have?
All things legal on WWL.FM.com and the Odyssey app. Connect with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on the Oakwood Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Let's go to the phone lines. Got about 3 minutes before the news break with Janice. Janice got a question regarding insurance. What can we do for you, Janice?
Hi guys, I have a question for my sister's house. She couldn't claim $9,000 hurricane deductible, so she got a check for like $3,300 to fix, the gutters came down, so forth like that. I don't know if that was for the roof or not. I asked to get a copy of the claim breakdown, so I have to check my email for that. But they didn't give her anything on the mold that's in the bathroom. So she didn't have no mold in the bathroom before. So what do I do now?
All right. Well, first of all, the question would be the mold in the bathroom. It would have to be an outgrowth of the damaged sheetrock. In other words, I sort of explain it this way. If you have mold on wet sheetrock, then it's covered. If you have mold that jumps over to dry sheetrock, that becomes sort of iffy, and it may or may not be covered. Albert, what is your thought?
Well, it's mold as an ensuing loss, right? So in other words, it's from a covered cause of loss, and mold is an ensuing loss, meaning it's the result of the storm and the moisture. And let me tell you, you get moisture intrusion into your home, and then the power goes out for 7, 8, 10 days, and you have no conditioning in the home that will take that moisture out of the air. It's going to grow mold. I mean, it's just what happens. So it is a direct result of the moisture that came in. The moisture that came in is a covered cause of loss, so it should be.
Now, a lot of the policies have a quote mold exclusion, and how do you interact the mold exclusion with a situation like that?
Well, again, it depends. Some of them are a little tighter, and I've seen some recently that even excluded ensuing losses, and it's all between the parties, et cetera. But basically, you just have to work with the insurance company and explain to them that it's covered. Did she have someone go out and inspect the loss herself? No. I understand. She needs to go. It's her burden of proof, right? She has the burden to prove her damages to the insurance company. So she needs to get someone to go out and look at those damages and make sure that, this wasn't, look, I had a school teacher one time in Katrina. She was a school teacher, had no construction knowledge whatsoever, decided she wanted to be an adjuster. They trained her for 1 week, and she went out there and did a horrible job with this claim on behalf of the insurance company. So what you need to do is get someone to go out there, contact our office. We have folks that do that. They'll go out there, they'll inspect the loss, they'll give you a much fairer estimate for you to submit to your insurance carrier.
Yeah, just give us a call at 837-1304, 504-837-1304. Thanks for the call, Janice. We got 1 hour in the can. We're going to national news, local news. We'll be back in about 10 minutes and all things legal for hour number 2. Stay tuned. We'll see you then.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Linda Kenyon in Washington. Santa Clara County officials are handing out free at-home COVID tests. This woman is glad to get them.
It makes us feel so much more comfortable, especially with everything going up in our school. My daughter had half her class out last week.
In Wayne, New Jersey, a mega vaccination site is opened up at an old Macy's department store. Joe Asenzo's 16-year-old daughter got the jab.
I think it's very important with school. There's a mask mandate, but a lot of kids aren't wearing the mask, so I just feel like it would be safer for her to get it.
In Denver, students are not very happy with how school officials have acted to keep them safe from COVID, so they walked out last week.
We're not trying to disengage from you. We want to have a decent conversation about getting you demands.
California children ages 12 and up would be able to get vaccinated without a parent's consent under a new proposal introduced by State Senator Scott Wiener.
Unfortunately, there are some family situations where parents are prohibiting their teenage children from getting the vaccine. And that means that kids might get sick, might be hospitalized, and God forbid, might die.
California firefighters are battling a wildfire near Big Sur, which has forced the evacuation of hundreds of residents.
That's when around 500 people were evacuated by local law enforcement, and those evacuation orders are still in place.
Cal Fire's Cicely Juliet. An unusual cold snap is gripping the nation.
Most of the country running at or below average for this time of the year. So some very cold weather, there's no escaping it, not even much of Florida.
WIAT-TV meteorologist Michael Haynes. Yesterday marked 1 week since 4 people were taken hostage inside a synagogue in Colleyville, Texas. Since the synagogue is considered a crime scene and is off limits to the public, the congregation held services at Colleyville Town Hall.
Whether you were joining us in person or whether you were joining us online, we are grateful for your presence on so many levels.
While all of the hostages last week emerged unharmed, the suspect was killed as authorities moved in. If you feel a cold coming on, you might want to rethink vitamin D supplements.
After years of debate, Australian researchers have made a unique revelation. Vitamin D supplements don't stop colds and flu developing. Studies found those with a sufficient vitamin D level don't receive an extra advantage to fight off sickness. However, the results did show an upside to supplements.
We did find a small reduction in the case of the cold and flu or the severity of it.
Researcher Professor Rachel Neal, who says the supplements may help the immune system in the recovery phase.
That's Scott Mayman in Brisbane, Australia. Tax filing season starts tomorrow, but be warned, it might be even more cumbersome than usual this year. This is CBS News.
Get CBS News Radio on the Odyssey app. All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. News, music, sports, and podcasts. Download the Odyssey app today.
Guys, stop putting your love life on hold. U.S. Pharmacy has some exciting news. If you've been wanting to try Viagra or Cialis, now's the perfect time. Call today and receive 90 little blue or little yellow pills for only $119 with free shipping. Why order some low-dose sildenafil from one of those subscription services when we can give you what you want now? Call 800-711-6818 and we'll rush your order discreetly packaged to your door. Been thinking about trying Viagra or Cialis? Call U.S. Pharmacy at 800-711-6818 for as little as only $119 for 90 pills. Need your package in a hurry? Call 800-711-6818 and ask about our express shipping option, and we'll rush your order to you as soon as possible. Save money on this little blue or yellow pill you've been wanting to try. Again, 800-711-6818 now. That's 800-711-6818.
With a great resignation.
WWL First News. I'm Tom Perumian. I'm your official weather station, WWL AM/FM.com.
A frigid start to the day. In fact, you have to go back to last February, the last time we had temperatures in the teens, 20s, and low 30s. Much of us below normal and below freezing. The temperatures during the afternoon hours will be warming into the low 50s, but that too is below average. It's going to get cold again tonight with clear skies, but not as cold. No hard freeze. In fact, a light freeze for the North Shore and areas west. So tonight, we don't need to worry about the fight. Temperatures in the metro area will be in the upper 30s. We'll see increase in clouds throughout the day on Monday with a chance for some afternoon and evening showers, more rain overnight going into early Tuesday, and a high of 57.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Franklin. A West Bank shooting is keeping Jefferson Parish investigators busy. WWL TV's Devin Bartolotta has the latest.
Jefferson Parish police are investigating a shooting that left a woman dead in West Vigo. We're told it happened around 10:30 in the morning in the 900 block of Cougar Lane. Right now, no other information has been released.
Kids could get their own vaccine for COVID coming soon. WWL TV's Mike McDaniel has the story.
And children under the age of 5 could be eligible for a COVID vaccine as soon as next month. Yesterday, Dr. Anthony Fauci announced the FDA could approve the new age group for the vaccine within a month. Right now, only children age 5 and older can get the vaccine. Now, the total amount of vaccine that young kids would get is just a fraction of what adults get. Across the U.S., more than 900 children are being admitted to the hospital with COVID every day.
Here's Scott Alexander with WWL Sports.
Aaron Rodgers is now 0-4 against the San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs since 2012. He's the first quarterback in NFL history to lose 4 playoff games to a single team. And in the AFC, the mythic legend of former LSU star Joe Burrow continues to grow in Cincinnati.
Burrow back in the shotgun, lifts that right leg, gets a low snap, he's back to pass. Burrow looking, fires right side number Chase. He's got it out of bounds with 15 seconds left at the Tennessee 33. The Bengals are in field goal range.
And despite getting sacked 9 times, Joe Burrow became only the 3rd quarterback in NFL history to win his first 2 NFL playoff games, joining Joe Montana and Jim Plunkett. Burrow didn't have a TD pass, but he threw for 348 yards, including that big strike to his LSU battery mate Jamar Chase, setting up Cincinnati's game-winning field goal. The Bengals will play the winner of the Chiefs-Bills game, which is at 5:30 on WWL, and then the 49ers will travel for the 3rd straight week and face the winner of Tampa Bay and the LA Rams. That game is at 2 p.m., also on WWL. Scott Alexander, WWL Sports.
Now, your Garcia Roofing forecast on WWL.
Beautiful day on the road, lots of sunshine, but frigid warning.
Do you have anybody on the line, Doug?
High of only 52
Doug.
balmy in the afternoon hours. Will make it feel a bit more comfortable. However, still running well below another chilly night tonight on the way. Temperatures dropping in the 20s and 30s. However,
Doug.
Around 37 degrees in the city, 57 on Monday with increasing cloud cover for some late afternoon hours. Early as a disturbance group south of the coast. Another cold front the chill around for the rest of the week and even
Hey, is the lines clear? Doug. Doug.
I'm Tom Perumian, WWL.
Doug. It's clear.
Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, we're back. Hour number 2, Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We're on till 10 o'clock today. And before we, I have something for Albert regarding Louisiana Insurance Guarantee Association. But before we get to that, during the break, my phone was popping up from Bleacher Report, CBS Sports, and another publication as to Sean Payton not committing to return for 2022. He hasn't said he's going to return. He hasn't said he's not. And so they have a story about that. Jeff Duncan from NOLA.com, Tom Picayune said, don't worry, he'll be back next year. But it seems like there's at least unsubstantiated speculation as to will he be back next year or not. You know, I mean,
Doug,
yes,
he's coming back.
He's coming back.
Sure, he's coming back. Why wouldn't he? He's here. He's coached for life. He has a very unengaged owner who is not going to, not a Jerry Jones or whatever that's going to demand. He's got Mickey Loomis. He's got, Bensel. He's got all these folks, and they're all, they're all there, and they can be there as long as they want, unless there's some sort of public outcry from the New Orleans fans that says we don't want Payton anymore, which you don't.
Well, no, I wouldn't think another team would be the lure. I would think possibly being a TV commentator, because he's had that year off almost 10 years ago. Yeah, or 2012, which was 10 years ago. And it's a grind. I mean, you're just grinding for 10 years. And maybe a year or two to take off and just take a breath, enjoy a little life, and then he would have enough time to come back and coach again, for several years. But just a thought. I just saw the reports pop up. I know nothing. I'm just saying what I've heard.
No. I'm just thinking
it's all speculation.
From a going somewhere else standpoint, I can't imagine.
I think it's right. I agree with that. It's just a matter of whether the grind of being an NFL coach is you just don't have another life. In fact, in that life, you live in a complete vacuum, and that you could have wars, political events, cataclysmic events occurring around you, and if you're in that situation, you have no idea that's going on because you just got you're in football mode.
Right.
And if you're a wife of a NFL coach or assistant coach, or you're just not going to see your husband from August to January. You're just not.
And even before, because they're preparing the draft, they've got all that stuff.
Or July, through July. So it was just an interesting thought. Or just the speculation.
My daughter on the Friday before the Saints game, Friday night before the Saints game, She saw Sean Payton and his wife at Vintage Rock Club, you know, hanging out, having a good old time. And so I'm sure there is that draw that kind of is dragging him in that direction. I'm sure, you know, for his marriage standpoint, they want to, she's probably whispering in his ear, hey, let's do this, let's do that. What's the point of making all this money if we can't enjoy it, et cetera, et cetera. So you never know. Yeah, that might be the case that, yeah, I want to go be in the booth somewhere. But the fact that he would go to another team.
No, I don't think he would go. I know Jerry Jones would be a disaster, not a disaster, but Jerry Jones seemed to have coaches who allow his input seem to last a lot longer, even if they're not performing, than coaches who are saying, hey, if I'm the chef, I'd like to, pick out the ingredients.
Get out of the kitchen.
Right. So, but it's just interesting that it popped up a couple of times during the break. And a lot of times, you drive speculation just to get reader interest, and that's all it could be. But it was just interesting that it came up. All right, we're shifting gears. Another insurance company went down. America's insurance company was taken over in receivership. And Albert, if you could explain, and I've gotten a few texts asking, what do I do now? What do I do now? My insurance company's gone bankrupt, but they're in receivership, but they are an admitted carrier with the state of Louisiana. What's the next step?
So it's good and bad, right? And the good news is that you did have your insurance company, placed with an admitted carrier. So as an admitted carrier, you'll see on your invoice for your insurance policy, either the guarantee association fee or there may be another name for it, but that's basically what it is. And those companies pay into the guarantee association each year, and that funds the coffers of the guarantee association in the event that one of the insurers that is admitted goes bankrupt. A lot of these Lloyd's companies are not admitted. They're surplus lines carriers, and so basically they write the stuff that a lot of other companies don't want to write. So if you were with an unadmitted carrier and it went bankrupt, you're out of luck. And you paid those premiums for nothing. And then you just got to sit around and wait for the bankruptcy and all of the debts to be paid to see if you might collect something on your claim. But if it is admitted, then you file your claim. It'll be transferred to LIGA. It's going to be a big delay. LIGA is the Louisiana Insurance Guarantee Association. Unfortunately, there are some rules about LIGA. One of which is even if you had a replacement cost coverage policy, they're only going to pay actual cash value. You can't get penalties against. I mean, there's just a lot of rules and regulations against LIGA that it's kind of a last resort. We're
a backstop.
It's a bankruptcy, and it's a fund. Yeah, it's a fund to protect policyholders. So. I'm sorry for that person. Unfortunately, they got a little road to go through to get.
Yeah, and that was their other question was, what is the expectation as far as the timeline? Because you don't have the penalties and attorney's fees, the 30 and 60-day periods. What is and they're doing? They have a roof that needs to be fixed. They need to do work. What is the timeline that you think that?
Well, I mean, what they're going to do? Yeah, they're going to set it all up, right? So they're going to set up the claims. They're going to hire these third-party claims departments to handle, hundreds and hundreds and maybe thousands and thousands of claims. Yeah, probably depending on how much the insurer wrote in the area, and they're going to have to get that all in place, and then they're going to have to get the files transferred from the insurance company to LIGA. And once those are all transferred, assigned, in place, they've got to be reviewed. And so a lot of these companies then ramp up, these claims companies, they ramp up, and they'll give them to, maybe 10, 12 different companies, and they'll ramp up and get claims adjusters to sit, go over the claims, review them, and, act just like your insurance company would act at that point, but under more limited and restricted rules. So in terms of a time frame, you're probably looking at least 6 months, before they start rolling out claims and making payment.
Yeah, and part of it is there's been 3 companies that have gone into receivership, and I think it's about 30,000 policies which have gone under which they wrote between the 3 of the companies, which I venture to guess you probably have 15 or 20, maybe 15,000, 12,000 claims on those policies.
Right.
So it's going to take a little while from a administrative point of view, for Louisiana Insurance Guarantee Association to mobilize to assign these policies or these claims to, like you said, the 10 or 12 claims adjusting companies that are going to handle it. And also, too, not to say that they're not going to process them, but they don't have that hammer over them saying we have to do this in 30 or 60 days. They can work at their own speed.
Right.
In other words, you don't have any enforcement mechanism to say.
I will tell you this, though. I did LIGA work back in the day.
Yeah.
And, when I worked for insurance companies and did this kind of thing, I will tell you there is a little pressure from the administrators of the LIGA fund to get the work done. If they're not getting it done, they'll reassign it to a different claims adjuster or a different attorney or whatever. So it's there is that pressure, but no, they don't have the penalty hammer, right? Where they say, oh, well, if you don't do it, and now all of a sudden that claims adjuster's getting looked at by his claims supervisor. Why didn't you follow up on this? Now the company's exposed for this additional loss.
Right. So because, as we stated before, in absence of the bad faith statutes, the bad faith statute is a mechanism that helps keep the insurance companies engaged in a acute fashion.
It's much like the flood claims with FEMA, right? Same thing.
Yeah.
They're under no real strict guidelines to get it done within any period of time. But at the same time, you have your senators and your congressmen that, when they get the phone calls, hey, what's going on? Why isn't there money on the streets? Our people are having problems. So there's going to be pressure from other places. It's just not going to be, statutory penalties and attorney's fees.
Yeah, and we're going to go to a break, and I just want to, when we go on the other side of the break, I'm going to talk to the segment of people who do have a flood claim, primarily in maybe Thibodeau, or Lafourche, Terrebonne, St. John's, St. Charles Parish, about certain deadlines that are coming up for their flood claims also. So let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Mornings wake up with me and Dave Cohen between 5 and 10 a.m. You get the news, weather, sports, transfer reports you need. Plus, you'll find out what's happening right in your own backyard, whether that's the
Well, I don't know. Oh, who do we have? Okay, we got Dan, and who else?
The rise of Wall Street. Plus, Neanderthals, brutish and dim-witted, or clever and capable. Maybe we are not as unique as we thought. Find out who was the real Neanderthal. It's all on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20. That's $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the world is throwing everything it has at you. And to succeed, you need someone to guide you through. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PCs and tech advice to help you navigate whatever challenges you're up against and get you safely to where you want to be. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
I feel like I'm being haunted by a pair of headphones. Everywhere I go is a creepy ad for headphones I looked at one time. I hate feeling like I'm being watched. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy with DuckDuckGo.
LA 121-12674, offices in Baton Rouge. Where do you go when you want to sell your old gold jewelry? CausewayCoinCo.com.
How's your mental health? I'm listening with Billie Eilish.
I feel like I spent a lot of time thinking about happiness and how it's just like it fluctuates. Everyone thinks if you're one thing, you're going to do that forever, and you're never going to do anything else. And it's really not true. Like happiness is temporary, but also so is like misery, and things just like morph and change. It just doesn't stay. It goes up and goes down, and things change, and like that's how life works.
Explore more at I'mListening.org.
Anyone can get long COVID. Even Isaiah, age 26.
I got COVID in October 2020, and 3 weeks later, I started having long-term problems. I used to be able to dance all day, and now it's getting up, gives me chest pain. I can't comprehend words at times. It's honestly don't understand anything.
Getting vaccinated against COVID-19 is the best way to prevent long COVID. Learn more at voicesoflongcovid.org. Brought to you by the Louisiana Department of Health.
A new year. How about a new career? Alarm Protection Services is growing and wants you to be a part of their team. Alarm Protection Services has openings for experienced and trainable technicians now with full benefits for a better future. Alarm Protection Services offer 401k, vacation, holidays, and more. These positions will go fast. Apply at securitybyAPS.com today. Be a part of a winning team. securitybyAPS.com.
Are you prepared for the retirement you've always dreamed of? The retirement full of possibilities and fun. How do you get there? This is David Compton, your first secure financial wealth manager. We help clients live their dreams that have to have. We help them understand.
Okay, we got one more after this, and we'll go live.
Clear path on give us a call for a free consultation. 504-834-1157.
Want to cash in during the pro football playoffs? Try out Giving Props, a free-to-play contest on BetQL.com. Every round of the postseason, we'll post 10 props. Simply create an account and make your picks for a chance to win $2,000 in weekly winnings. Plus, just by signing up, you're entered into a random grand prize drawing for $10,000. Get started today at BetQL.com/props. That's BetQL.com/props.
Now, more All Things Legal, underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinion shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Back to WWL.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Real quick before we go to Lee, for the individuals who've had flood claims, probably in St. Charles Parish, St. John's Parish, there is a deadline. Flood policies are totally different than wind policies, homeowners policies. They're governed by federal law. They're not governed by state law. In fact, they're exempt from state law. And they have a different set of rules, and there is night and day as far as the rules are concerned. There's no penalties if they don't pay in time. I don't think you even get your court costs back if you prevail in a case. But you have a deadline. If you want to file a supplemental claim for flood, you will have to file a proof of loss attached with an estimate by February 26th. If you do not do that, you will lose your right to get additional flood money, period. Now, sometimes, and I'm sure Commissioner Donlan will be on the phone, will prevail on FEMA to provide extensions, but FEMA seems to be less hospitable to Louisiana because I think they felt like they've paid out a lot of money to Louisiana in the last 20 years. The country is in horrible debt, and they really do not want to incur other obligations. So I would say that at this point, if you have not resolved your flood claim, you're going to have to start making preparations to get an estimate and file a proof of loss and file it in order to preserve your right to get a supplemental payment. Because if you don't, then you lose your right to get additional payment on your flood claim for structure and also contents. And you could call us at 837-1304, 504-837-1304. We could send you a proof of loss claim. We could, walk you through the process. But that's just very important. A lot of people don't know. A lot of this is not publicized. In some ways, I think the federal government doesn't want to publicize it because it wants to limit its liabilities for these flood claims. And hopefully they'll extend it, but I'm not counting the deadline. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Lee. He's got a question regarding car theft. Hey, Lee, you on All Things Legal. What can we do for you, brother?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. Saturday, I was part of a carjacking / car theft. My brother had a birthday party Saturday, and we was at the home, and we was taking stuff out of the car. Well, I was the one at the car at the moment, and the car started moving. Like, and I told her, I didn't put the car in gear. Anyway, the course, contact the car. We had about $3,700 stuff in the car. Besides, the cash for the people put it for that was in the armrest.
Right.
And I'm wondering,
Yeah, you called last week, huh, Lee? You called last week? Lee.
No. Because it just happened Saturday.
Really? Because there was a caller last week. The exact same thing happened. He was at a party, and yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, a caller called in last week, and it's the exact same story. He was at a party unloading things, and was wondering if it was going to happen, that he was going to be able to collect. So the advice is, yes, make your claim with your. Do you have what's called comprehensive coverage under your car policy? All right, if you have comprehensive, you're going to pay your deductible. It's usually a very small deductible, like $100, but you need to submit and organize your claim. Get all of your receipts for everything that you purchased for the party, and say, look, here it is. I purchased it this day or the day before the loss, and look, here are my receipts from the bank where I went to the bank to get the cash. From the ATM or however you obtain the cash to pay the people for the party. And so, and you might even be able to claim, did the party go forward? You might even be able to claim car rental loss for the hall, if there was a hall you rented. But submit all of that and say, look, here's what it is. Here's how much cash I got. Here are my receipts to prove it. Here's how much we paid for purchase the goods for the party that got stolen with the vehicle, and submit all that, and and they're going to come do a survey of the local area and vehicles and how much that vehicle is worth for the loss. They're going to hopefully want to try to obtain. Did you get a police report?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, and you have to submit, and it was on video.
Yeah, it was on video.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, then submit the video. Look, it's called proof of loss, right? Play like you're in a court of law, and you got to prove it to them. You can't just say it happened. So if you've got these receipts, you've got to, if you can download a little clip of the video, send it all to the adjuster and say, look, here it is. You owe it to me. Now it's the burden is on them to establish some sort of exclusion, or try to prove that you don't have enough information to satisfy what you claim your loss is, which, if you do all the things I just said, you should have a satisfactory proof of loss that would be sufficient to make the claim and get paid minus your small deductible. But submit that all through your comprehensive, yes. You got to look on your policy, make sure you have that, and then submit that claim to your insurance agent and say, here's everything, here's the police report, this is the vehicle. I'm assuming they haven't recovered your vehicle since Saturday.
No, sir.
Okay. and just get the steak on, but put it all together and send it off in a nice little bow, and you'll get paid a lot quicker.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right.
Sort of want to follow up. It's amazing that you would get the same question 2 weeks in a row.
I'm telling you, last week you were off, and Lance Lashardi was on, and we were talking about, just the high rate of crime in Orleans Parish, and the fact that it's spiking, et cetera, et cetera. And this gentleman called up and had what I'm telling you, I thought it was the same guy. It was the exact same story. He was unloading it. He thought he didn't put it in park, and he ran out to the vehicle, and they took off with it.
It's an editorial a little bit, but it's very interesting. I'm wondering when the powers that be in Orleans Parish is going to acknowledge it's a crime problem.
Well, no, so we talked about that too, and it was advertised, part of the news story on WWL, that Helena Moreno called a special crime meeting for the city council, and I want to say it's tomorrow.
Right, it's with the new city council. But I guess what I'm saying, especially from the mayor's office, I mean, it is very easy to go after symbolic issues that mean nothing, that are virtue signaling, as a way of not going after the real problem. I mean, we have a real, and I think Newell's been on it all week during the broadcast as far as, there is a serious, people should be out with pitchforks saying, at City Hall saying, we're not tolerating this anymore.
I have somebody that I know very well, lives in Lakeview, just went and bought 2 handguns, and he says, I carry it with me to go put my garbage out in the alley. That's how bad it's gotten in Lakeview. I've got a good friend that called me after the show. I said, I wish you would have called me during the show. He said his sister has an apartment down in the French Quarter, like the 1000 block of Bourbon. He said they'd go down twice a month. He lives on the North Shore. He'd go down twice a month and go hang out and go to Galatoire's, go spend some money and have a great old time. And he said, now they don't go anymore. He said they kind of got friendly with a couple of the cops down there that, he said about 2 blocks away, he sees this cop that he, isn't acquainted with, right? And the guy's got his back to the wall. And he said, you see this? And we were talking, he says, where are you going? He said, don't go there. Stay away from there. No, don't do that. So he said, look, the cop tells him, I stay here with my back on this wall because I'm afraid one of these predators is going to come up behind me and kill me. And he said, before LaToya, we had 36 cops between Canal Street and Esplanade Avenue patrolling the French Quarter. So you know how many are patrolling right now? 4 cops patrolling the jewel of New Orleans, right? The lifeblood of New Orleans, where people are going to come and spend money and bring in a tax base. But instead, you walk down the street and all you smell is marijuana. Nobody's spending money. They're hanging out in the street. It looks like,
Well, and also, too, they're threatening to close down businesses because you don't have your mask pulled up over your nose. And so what I'm saying is there's real problems out there, but it's easy to make it about statutes. It's easy to make it about, getting law-abiding citizens to do unnecessary things and putting, restrictions on them rather than dealing with the real problem. And it's just amazing that you would get that call 2 weeks in a row with a similar fact scenario. And at some point, when is it going to say this? We've had enough. But let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. All things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
After a weekend of football, it's time to second guess. And nobody does it better than the Nation Show. Here we have the Aaron Baldwin with us. Let's go from there. And in the last second guess.
Mondays at 4 o'clock, live from the Silver Clipper. Your host on the coast analyze things in NFL games like a pro. Second guest with the two Cajuns, Bobby and Mike. Mondays from 4 p.m. until they get tired of talking on WWL.
DraftKings Sportsbook is coming soon to Louisiana. It won't be long until you can bet on all your favorite sports from the comfort of your own home. To celebrate, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving customers $100 in free bets when you sign up before they go live. No deposit required. DraftKings is bringing their experience as a leader in daily fantasy sports to the sports betting world and have created one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps, DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now.
And use code BIG870 when you sign up.
Those who sign up right now will get $100 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Louisiana. That's code BIG870 to get $100 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-770-STOP. 7867. 21 and over. Louisiana only. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Full terms and conditions. A new year comes with new excitement, new ambitions, new milestones. Is this the year you pop the question? Have a child? Celebrate a major anniversary. At Diamonds Direct, we're here for you, now more than ever. With our vast selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds, our world-renowned designer jewelry collections, our industry-leading warranties and guarantees, and our people. People with a passion for helping you mark any occasion with something that's both meaningful and timeless. And our commitment to providing exceptional value is stronger than ever in the new year. Whether you're just starting out on a tight budget or whether you're splurging on that 30th anniversary gift, Diamonds Direct will make sure you get the price that you expect from America's premier direct diamond importer. Welcome to a new year and welcome to Diamonds Direct, where extreme value combines with the ultimate luxury shopping experience to create that truly magical moment for the milestones in your life. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. On Severn Avenue, across from Lakeside.
Hey y'all, the new year's here and you're ready to celebrate. Here's what's happening around the state. January 22nd, Madisonville's Babel.
We have one spot after Babel and then we'll go live.
In Franklinton, Dayton Winter Festival. January 26th through February 2nd, Cinema on the Bayou Film Festival in Lafayette. January 29th, Opelousas Gumbo Cook-Off. So make your plans to Les Allen Bonton Relay.
This is Lieutenant Governor Billy Nicaud. Plan your road trip at LouisianaIsATrip.com.
This is Newell for the Ray Brand Auto Group. Before you accept a low offer for your car, the Ray Brand Auto Group will pay you top dollar right now. Visit any Ray Brand Auto Group website to get your Kelly Blue Book instant cash value. Keep your business local. The Ray Brand Auto Group is buying cars, so check them out.
For Mardi Gras supplies, head to Jefferson Variety Stores, specializing in specialty beads, throw beads, trinkets, boas, masks, hats, and plenty more. At Jefferson Variety Stores, open 7 days a week. Visit them at 239 Iris Avenue in Old Jefferson or online at jeffersonvariety.com.
At Community Coffee, we didn't set out just to make great coffee. We set out to make something that would bring out the best in people, morning, noon, and night. And who wouldn't want to share a cup of that? Community Coffee. Find us at your local grocery or visit us at communitycoffee.com.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind. Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
No matter your learning style or experience level, Babbel has lessons designed for you that will get you speaking quickly and confidently.
I tried learning Spanish before, but I couldn't stick with it until I found Babbel.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora vamos a español.
You just said now we speak Spanish.
I can't wait to use our new language skills on our upcoming adventures.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Find podcasts for your passions on Odyssey.
We go live after this.
Fresh Air with NPR's Terry Gross.
Karen Culkin, welcome. I love the show.
I'm engaged and I care about these characters. I don't like them, but I care to see what happens with them.
Or The 11th.
Bringing you true, unexpected stories stories.
And experience the new podcast movie thriller Ghostwriter.
Starring Kate Mara and Adam Scott.
It's not a whodunit. If we know who the killer is all along, the real mystery is why.
Find all the podcasts that matter to you in a universe of audio.
Odyssey.
All things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Oakland Heart Coolers Talk and Text line 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. All things legal. On for another 18 minutes. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Dan the Man. And Doug in the studio, keep your finger on the button when Dan's talking. What's up, Dan?
Hey, man, guess what? I'm 88 years old just a couple of days ago.
You are 88, so you were born during which Roosevelt administration? Theodore or Franklin?
I can't remember the last president. What the hell you want me to do?
You were Franklin, I think. There you go. Congratulations, Dan. Congratulations.
Dan, you're 88.
Right.
You know what that means. You've completely lost your filter.
All right. All right. What you got for us?
And I got more problems than a dog on a tin roof, which he get down here. Anyway, I had a roof put on a house, or a room house, they call it, where they're all the same. The name is starts with a D out here, and then matter. So you'll get the idea. Anyway, they put the roof on there and all, but it's wrong. She walked it over, and the real house is every floor has a floor. I'm the only two. And the roof tells me two ain't enough, so I put two on the other ones. So I said, what should I do? Call the roofer up, and he says, finally after much persuasion, admits that they made a mistake. But because they made a mistake, it's going to cost me to replace mistake, and I'll have to pay for some of that. That's the first problem. The second problem is that I also got some tree damage. I paid them already. I paid the roof. But the tree damage on the house, the insurance company says, no, they ain't paying for that. They didn't have any tree damage. I said, I got pictures of them. Seats where I had the roof. We're not going to pay for it. So I got that problem. Three problems. I forgot the third problem. Anyway, we'll go on that one.
All right. As far as I guess Albert, as far as the
so as far as the 4 foot versus 2 foot, right? So if they charged you for a 2 foot overhang, and that's what they charged you for, but a 4 foot overhang was going to cost another $4,000, and they go back and make it a 4 foot overhang, then you're going to have to pay the difference because you were not charged the full amount for a 4 foot. So now to go back and redo it and correct it and that sort of thing should not be part of the estimate. But if there are more materials, et cetera, that are necessary to cover that extra 2 feet, then I understand an adjustment for that. Does that make sense? I mean, let's say, I get it. Let's say they were supposed to put a architectural roof on your roof, but they put a 3-tab shingle roof, and they made a mistake. So you said, look, tear the roof off and put the architectural on. Okay, yeah, so they're going to have to pay to have the roof removed, right? But you're going to have to pay the difference in the cost between the 3-tab shingle and the architectural shingle.
No.
Makes sense. Because they only charge you for the 3-tab.
No.
And in this sense, they only charge you for a 2 foot overhang, but you wanted 4 feet. So if there's a difference in price for that extra 2 feet, you should pay that. But now, not to remove it and do all those things to correct the mistake, but to pay the additional materials charge. And, if there's an extra labor charge to put that on, around the house, you should pay that too. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You know, you're getting something that what you were not charged for to begin with. Yeah, and then look, regarding the other issue, if you got photographs, et cetera, of the tree and an invoice and that sort of thing, and they're not paying it, then you need to see your local lawyer.
Yeah, Dan.
Hello. Oh, I guess they must have hit the button on him.
No, it's bad. He said he had a low battery. For
okay.
Yeah, Dan's gone. He said he had a low battery. Wish him a happy birthday at 88. We've been on for he's been calling us since he was 73. Last 15 years. So wish you a happy birthday.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's good. And I was always, when we're in the studio with Dan, I think as he's gotten into his 80s, he's had less of a propensity for telling jokes that are not appropriate for Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So I have to warn. We do this remotely now, so I have to warn Doug. I said, just find that button just in case he starts talking to. He said when he starts that there were two blanks walking down the street. I'm like, okay, we gotta watch that. But anyway, so now on Dan's question too, it's if you were saying if the scope was defined for a 2-week overhang, a 2-foot overhang, and then they have to put 4, he would have to pay for the difference between that. Was it cost for
the cost for the extra 2 feet, but not to remove, not to go back and do whatever. But so if there was an additional charge that he was not charged originally because they put a lesser material on, then he's going to have to pay for the additional cost. I mean, that just makes sense. You just got to be careful when you look at their scope of work, try to compare it with your original estimate to see how they valued that 2 feet and make sure that they're not catching back on you for their labor. Right.
Gotcha. Try and make it back. All right, let's go to our final break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. If you want to give us a call at our office, if you can't get in, at 504-837-1304, 504-837-1304. We'll be right back for our last segment after this brief timeout.
WWL is proudly sponsored by Anajar and Levine Hurricane Attorney. Call 1-800-747-FREE. Attorney Bruce Spencer, Office Metairie, LA 22-12-762. What our saints is the deal. They're prepared. They've got a playbook.
What's your retirement playbook? Whether you're already retired or closing in on retirement, the Retirement Playbook will help you get ready. Get your free copy of the Retirement Playbook right now. Visit saintsretirementplaybook.com. That's saintsretirementplaybook.com. Brought to you by Presley Wealth Management, the official wealth management partner of the New Orleans Saints.
People of Louisiana, Caesars on the way. Yes, the Caesars Sportsbook app is launching in Louisiana very soon. Get ready to bet on all the sports you love right from the palm of your hand. Sign up now using code RADIONEW, one word, and you'll get $300 in bonus cash to wager with as soon as Caesars is live. Louisiana only. Must be 21. Permit pending at Harris, New Orleans, Horseshoe, Bossier City, and Horseshoe Lake.
I have Philip on the line. Would like to thank you for some advice you gave him a little while ago.
Okay, thanks.
Since Hurricane Katrina, the insurance companies have been raising our premiums and raising our deductibles. But now when we need our insurance payments to rebuild our homes and rebuild our lives, they're denying our claims and lowballing our estimates. This is Albert Nicaud, the Nicaud and Sunseri law firm in Metairie. Let us put our team of licensed contractors.
You're going to have in the neighborhood of 6 minutes.
Okay. So who do we have on the line? It's Phil. Phil, right?
504-837-1304, and I'll make your insurance company a call.
Breathtaking diamond jewelry, each piece a great work of art, in a box from Oakwood Heart. Choose from classics like diamond tennis bracelets, and everybody's wearing diamond stackable jewelry these days. At Oakwood Heart, you'll find a huge selection of rings, earrings, bracelets, and necklaces from all the designers you love. And shop the Oakwood Heart collection, designed by our award-winning master craftsmen. There's a great work of art in every box from Oakland Heart on Metairie Road.
It's time for you to profit from the postseason with BetQL's Giving Props Contest. We post some props, you make some picks, and there's $2,000 up for grabs each weekend of the playoffs. Over rushing yards, under receiving yards, you get it. BetQL's Giving Props Contest. And everyone who registers has a shot at the $10,000 grand prize. Props, pick, profit.
We also have Ellen on from Bush, and she has a roof question if we have time.
Okay.
This tax filing season could be one for the record books. There are thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits on the table, and Jackson Hewitt will help make sure.
We may have time.
Okay.
It looks like we're going to have a
Seven. Okay, good.
So much more. Don't leave thousands on the table. Jackson Hewitt will make sure you get credit for all you do and get the biggest refund guaranteed. Learn more and find your nearest location at jacksonhewitt.com.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour, barely keeping up. But to cruise through challenges, you need someone who's right there with you. That's what Dell advisors do. They have the Windows PCs and tech advice you need to get past whatever's in front of you and get where you want to go. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
I didn't feel so well, so I searched my symptoms on Google.
Okay, we go after this.
Followed by uncomfortable ads. I hate feeling like my personal data is being bought and sold. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy with DuckDuckGo.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nicaud and Sunseri now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Philip. Hey, Philip, what you got for us, brother?
How y'all doing?
Good.
I wanted to thank y'all. Back in late October, early November, I apologized about my session about to where I had to get my claim private. And I couldn't get it because I was a nephew and not an honor and anything else. Well, the advice y'all gave me, I took this lawyer and I actually got the death certificate a few weeks ago, and our claim is processed now. I want to thank y'all for y'all's advice. Because I actually got the lawyer off his butt and made him do, what he was supposed to do. Thank you.
All right, Philip. We'll appreciate it. That's why we're here. Well, I'm glad everything.
You have a blessed 2022.
All right, my man. Well, thank you so much.
Glad it all worked
We
out for
appreciate
you.
it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's go to Ellen from Bush. Got a roof question. Hey, Ellen, what you have for us, bro? Sister?
Yes, hey, good morning. Good morning.
morning.
Thank y'all for being here. We got some damage from Hurricane Ida. I got five adjusters already. One adjuster the second person called and said they were sorry that it couldn't take on my roof, which never happened. I said, oh, wrong file. Sure enough, the paperwork I put in the wrong file. I cannot get anybody, they will not let me get another adjuster to come out. They only send out one for the roof. The first adjuster said we needed to replace the whole roof. Well, in the paperwork, he only put that it just had minor damage, and we had to get some cost area that it was patched, and that what he put on paper and what he told us were two different things. So
What you have to do is quantify your own damages. You can't keep asking the adjuster to come down and take a second look at the damages because they're not.
Let me ask you: do you have the phone number for the adjuster that came out? Did he give you the phone?
Okay.
So we had three roofers come out to give me a price to put a new roof on, and they all said, yeah, you need a new roof. Nobody will give me a damage report. And before they come out, all my neighbors, same builder, the other two are getting new roofs, except for me, and they're getting worked on. They will not give me a damage report. And then they wanted me to sign a contract for them to have the job, which I get it.
But one of them, it was kind of sketchy. You know, when you feel that bottom pit in your stomach, that this isn't right. I shouldn't do this.
Yeah. Here's what you want to do. A couple of things, right? So you want to make sure that you get a report from a roofer that doesn't just say, oh, you need a new roof. And here's how much. Because look, they're out there selling roofs and they want to sell you a roof. And so what you need is somebody to get up on the roof, take photographs, close-up photographs, not just from a drone, lift up the seal tabs and see if the seal tabs are broken. Take close-ups of the valleys and the edges and the vent stacks and everything else on the roof to prove that you do need a new roof. Take all those photographs and then go ahead.
Two roofers did that, okay? But they wanted me to sign a contract to move forward, and in the contract it stated that if my agent did not accept this, and it was a differential of what it is, I would be responsible. So if the insurance says no, we're going to give you $2,000 and the roof cost $30,000, I would be held responsible for $28,000.
Correct.
Submit a $1,500 deal to take them to court.
Right.
And it's like, this is crazy. You know, we went through Katrina, so you kind of, you're watching everything now more carefully, of course.
Right. So here's the other thing you need to do as well. You need to get on the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors website. And it'll say for consumers, click on that tab and it'll say, find a contractor. And you click on that contractors tab and you type in that name and see if that person is a licensed roofer. If it's a licensed roofer, throw that contractor. If he's not a licensed roofer, throw that contractor away. And you need to find a licensed roofer, or you know what, call an attorney, call our office. We have people that can go out there, give you an estimate, take photographs, prove why the roof is, in need of being replaced, and probably find a whole bunch of other damages that, that their adjuster went out there in 30 minutes and didn't find.
Yeah, well, I had a guy that spent 2.5 hours out there.
But right. Well,
correct.
Yeah, well, you have to quantify your own damages. That's the thing,
So just
and submit it to the insurance company. You can't. The insurance company's not your friend. Okay, you can't count on them quantifying your damages. You have to do it. You throw it in their lap, and you say you got 30 days to pay, or you're going to have bigger problems later. All right. 504-837-1304. 504-837-1304. All right.
Louisiana, what's the website?
Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors. And just go look at those two names that came and gave you bids, because it sounds like they're trying to pressure you to sign that contract.
All right. There we go. We're out. We'll see you in next week on All Things Legal. Thanks for the call. We'll see you then.